gentlemen, to Delivering More. We have another action-packed episode for you this week. Thank you, as always, for consuming the content morning, afternoon, or evening. If you could, go and hit that subscribe button down below. That's going to help us out more than you could ever know. This week, we have our first-time reoccurring guests, the founders of Deliver That, Aaron and John. And don't forget Tristan. We got the whole gang here, guys.
Yes,
What's
sir.
up, fellas?
Good to be back.
It is great to be back. Absolutely.
Finally.
Phenomenally happy to be back.
I've been waiting to be back. Felt like I was banished the last time we did this.
This is the first time on camera in the new studio. We recorded the first episode of the podcast on the other side of the office in a we'll call it a 6x6 cube. Little crunch for space. Now we're open out in the air. Feels a little better over here, guys. What do we think?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know we had the space over here, to be honest. This is crazy. You guys really turned this into a studio.
Yeah, we're working with what we got for sure, and we're moving right along. I know, try and get those views up, get those subscribers up. Nate, I think we're at 2.1K. I think we gained like 300 or 400 since the podcast. So we're getting there. We're definitely getting there, and I've always got to show improvement as best we can.
And we made this promise that you guys would be back, so here we are.
That
We're
is true.
delivering
Well,
to
that's
listeners.
actually the reason we're here.
Promise upheld.
Awesome.
Yeah, promises made, promises delivered. We're back. Founders Part 2. And I mean, the first episode, we basically kind of gave a brief, we'll call it overview of the beginnings of Deliver That, kind of just piece by piece along the way. And I do kind of want to go back, obviously, and now let's dive into a little bit more specific time frames. I think this week we're going to start with our time down in Athens, Ohio. This is not even Nate. You could see him from there. I could tell. I just said Athens, Ohio, and I get goosebumps up and down my body. I don't know if that's good or bad, but we'll determine that later on. Athens, Ohio. I believe we mentioned it previous podcast. South Green, Adams Hall. Is that where we were?
Yeah, I was living in Adams Hall. So John lived in a different dorm, but he basically lived with me.
Mm-hmm.
You were there too, right?
Well, I was down there. I was on South Green too. I was in Brown, the front four.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely were here and there. And then, I mean, we want to get to the catalyst of everything and get right into it. So first semester, second semester, about when let's not get right into deliver that. Let's mosey around Athens a little bit. Your guys' day to day, pre-med, I think previously.
Yeah, I was pre-med.
And John, what were you?
Engineering.
Engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So let's touch on that a little bit. So pre-med and engineering, we both end up here at Deliver That, basically entrepreneurship, and neither you got a degree in that field, but we're doing pretty damn well at it, boys. I'll say that much.
Mm-hmm.
But where are we in the class schedule, the time frames? How does that all work around to what ends up becoming this new business idea?
Yeah, it definitely didn't work around anything that we were trying to create or build. That's for sure. I remember I took a programming class, and that was kind of my.
I said, Tristan, you should be over there. No way.
Yeah, really. It's kind of my ending of
just one class
of engineering. It was like second semester or something like that of freshman year. But
it was HTML 101.
yeah, it really was. It's
Really?
HTML, CSS, maybe something like that.
I was like, oh, you took HTML.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I mean, we
The
were
oldest language.
I was just dabbling a little bit in engineering, taking a couple intro classes. I really wanted to design car headlights. That's what I really thought was. I thought that was it.
That's where you make your bread and butter.
Yeah, I
baby.
thought that was
Car
my career
headlights.
right there. So
Wow.
yeah,
Always
definitely quickly changed. That's for sure. Once this business kind of got up and running.
And you kind of talk about like how do we get in like the entrepreneurial spirit? Well, John and I, we the doorbell rang.
We'll be all right.
Okay. John and I, we got involved in some call them pyramid schemes, some call them multi-level marketing, affiliate marketing. You can call it whatever you want, but that was the first, I guess, taste that I ever got of like being my own boss and like being, say, responsible for like, my trajectory in something, right? I mean, we joined, a company and sold, health and wellness products. And that was really the first taste of, being my own boss and
Right.
like being responsible for that stuff. And I liked it a lot.
That was in high school though, right?
No, man, that was our freshman year of college. So I didn't go to OU my freshman year. Well, second semester I did, but yeah, I mean, we got into that the first semester, second semester of freshman year towards the end.
Yes, we did
And
it all
basically
summer.
just did it all summer, our freshman summer, was just grind and selling energy
Wow.
drinks.
I was in
Just
one of your basements
grinding.
at one point.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
as is.
Yeah, the bright
Yeah.
orange basement.
Yeah, if you've seen a bright orange basement, that was mine.
And I had this written down somewhere because I did want to kind of start back in previous business ventures, because at one point in time I was on decks basically sandblasting these decks and then staining them for you guys.
Dude, you're
as well.
fast forwarding like 2 years, man.
Oh yeah.
That was later?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
It's like our junior summer.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was all before college, to be honest.
No, man.
Yeah. Yeah, we were deep in it.
Oh, you spit them out.
Yeah. So what did we do? We did that. We did that.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, so we did the.
And you kind of just saw that money was different, because I always thought it was just clock in, clock out. You know,
Right.
Yeah,
or
like
salaries.
a lot of people like want to be doctors because you want to, be because you're a good person. Like me, I just want to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
That was really like the main catalyst. And I liked it too. I was
You work so much.
like I literally like I did some like classes like prep stuff in high school to sort of get me ahead in that, and found out in college that I just was not a brain. I was not someone that could do chemistry or organic chemistry. It just didn't click with me. But business was really natural.
Yeah.
Super natural.
Yeah, and we learned, like, I just remember seeing kids that were like our age making 10 grand, 20 grand a month doing this thing, this company, and it ruined money for me. I was like, well, I think there's other ways to make money instead of just get a normal job. So then it just kind of scarred me. I couldn't take engineering seriously because I was seeing these guys, outside of school making just way more than anyone who's talking to me in school, So
Right.
it really kind of just changed up the whole thought process. And then the next summer we get roped in with one of our other buddies, and his
Oh
dad,
my gosh.
his dad has a roofing company, and he
yeah.
goes, yeah, you can go sell roofs all summer. You can make 30 grand. We're like, oh yeah, I mean, let's do it.
For a summer? All right.
Yeah, sure. And we're knocking on doors, selling roofs in Alabama, South Carolina,
Oh dang.
North
Oh, wow.
Carolina, just wearing these bright blue shirts, just absolutely soaked. And because it's 90 degrees, 100 degrees down there, 100%
yeah.
humidity.
I'll tell you what, too. Like I always hated public speaking. Quickly got over that with being your own boss and going and knocking on doors and
Oh
cold
yeah, just ringing
calling
random
and,
doorbells all
and
day.
selling energy drinks to
Yeah.
college kids. You're like, what are you even doing?
Yeah.
You
What
just
are
kind
you
of
doing?
you kind of just put. At that point, you're just like, I just don't care what people think about me. I'm just gonna go try and make
Yeah.
it.
You
You
just gotta
can't
do
you
it.
can't possibly be worried
Yeah.
about what people's perception is if you're walking in their dorm trying to sell them some
And then hopefully,
$50 energy drinks.
yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully, if you guys have us on again, we'll give you like the real like grind after college, really getting this off the ground. But while we were there, like I said, just that was sort of like the foundational piece was.
Yeah, just gave you a taste of the business life.
Yeah,
of what
sure.
what could be.
Well, we
For
do
sure.
want to fast forward a little bit, right? Do you have more about Athens
Well,
you wanna
to
ask?
be very honest, my timeline was just completely wrong. For some reason, the pyramid scheme business they're talking about, in my mind, that happened.
We're not gonna name the company.
Yeah, we're not gonna name it. I don't even know if it's
SEC
still
already
out
took them
there.
down. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Did they?
they're gone.
In my mind, that was like junior and senior year of high school, and then
Mm, no.
we did the
Right.
decks and the staining like that summer,
Not even close.
and then went to OU. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, hey, we're not working with the brightest of bulbs here. We established that pre-podcast. We're just gonna reestablish that right now. I'm gonna dim that bulb a little bit, and we'll just keep it moving. But so I mean, we're getting the background. So we got a couple businesses. We're roofing. We're getting a feel for that. We're at school. Aaron, you're pre-med. John, you're engineering. Both, it just sounds like you're going to class, not enjoying it. There's obviously so much else to do at Ohio University on campus, whether it be you got volleyball courts and basketball courts right on the front floor during the fall and in the spring. Those are filled up constantly. You got a whole court street littered with 15 bars and a mile stretch of an area. I mean, there's so many other things to do. What happened that drove you to deliver that and this new avenue of business?
Well, I'll let him, kind of go down that path, because technically it was his idea.
I'm not gonna get all the nitty gritty because I think we did this before on the other podcast.
Right.
But yeah, basically we were walking to a dining hall and had the idea like, hey, we should just be delivering students anything, just this dining hall food, textbooks, whatever. And that's when the business was formed. And at the time, pre-med engineering student, no idea what was going on. He didn't want to do it. I just knew that it was an idea that I was like, okay, let's just try it. Make a Twitter account. The VP of the university ends up retweeting us, and it just ends up blowing up. And like, basically 3 days later, we have like 4,000 or 5,000 followers, and we're like, okay, got a business. And I think
Still did not have a car though.
yeah,
That was
still
my
no car,
That was my main driver.
So
I
you're
don't want to
biking?
run
Nope.
around the campus to deliver.
no car, and no way to send an order outside of just hey, tweet at us.
Oh yeah.
So let me just I kind of just go through the progression here, okay?
That'll teach.
Hey,
our
hey, just
operations
tweet at us.
quickly.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to pay with a credit card? You can't. But no, so like I end up putting like my own personal cell phone as like, here, just text what you want. Not realizing like all the stuff you have to collect beforehand and during and afterwards. Like, hey, where is this food going? You know, like what time do you
Yeah,
want the food?
what
by?
is your name?
People would just text me like, I don't know, like Slovaki, you know, just a two gyros, and it'd be like, awesome, but like, where's it going? How are you paying this stuff? So like that's how it started, right? It was just thrown together.
Yeah, just zero thought.
Thrown
Absolutely
together.
zero.
I remember like the first. It's been like January, February of the first year doing this. We had like a snowstorm in Athens, and like classes got called off, and like this is like pre like DoorDash or Uber Eats, or like there was no delivery on campus besides like pizza delivery.
Right.
And then there was us.
What about Venmo, like Cash App, nothing like that?
We had Venmo.
You had Venmo.
We'll get the Venmo later on
Yeah.
because that's how we paid people for a little bit.
Mhm.
John can no longer bank at Chase because of Venmo.
Ah,
Oh yeah.
Because
And because of Square, because all of our
Well,
eventually
that's
it's just,
why they
dude,
won't let me
it's
open
just
an
like
account.
just thinking about how we do business now versus it's like amateur versus professional.
right.
So, but yeah, like our first real snowstorm, like I'm talking like an honest to God 16-hour day of nonstop delivering food, 16 straight hours.
Oh yeah, all
With-
day. And because every delivery comes in via text, right? So you accidentally slide the wrong way and that message is gone. The order's gone. So now we're tweeting at people, hey, who ordered from this restaurant around this time? It's going to this place. Who are you?
Wow.
It's just, we'd
Yeah.
have the food in the car. Everyone's eating food because like we're just losing orders and swiping the wrong way. I mean, it was a nightmare that day.
So
Oh my
disorganized.
God.
But people just kept using it. They just
Yeah.
kept ordering.
Mhm.
Just didn't understand. They just kept ordering.
So then, obviously, you're already putting 16 hours in a day, like you said. At what point then were you guys like, all right, this is it? Like,
Well, that wasn't normal. Okay, 16 hour. That was. I mean, it was normal to get. Like we would take. Basically, we'd have someone on for 18 straight. Like someone like either John or myself was on call like 18 hours.
Mhm.
But we'd take shifts. So if we didn't have a driver working, you know, like.
oh, you guys had like a driver or two back then too, huh?
Well, I'm skipping a lot of, I guess, the finer details,
Yeah.
but yeah, like we had to eventually. There's too many deliveries for just me and John to take.
Well, who were the first drivers, right? It was the basketball
Oh
team.
yeah, the basketball team. Basketball. How can I forget that? And OU, they got good basketball, by the way. They got
Yeah,
guys that are
yeah.
in the
Shout
league
out
and stuff.
OU hoops. Let's
Yeah,
have it.
and
Oh, yeah.
I remember the first driver's name, Trey Setti. Never forget that.
Oh yeah.
He played at OU.
Yep.
Actually, pretty good. He think he played overseas too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh,
he randomly. I think we had known him. We'd met him before. He's like, hey man, can I just make some extra money and just drive for you guys?
Because they weren't allowed to have like a normal job. So,
Right.
like, we were like still under the radar and
Yeah,
all of a
everything's
sudden-
under the table.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I realized it was a little more real. Like him and I were sitting in his his dorm room, and these basketball guys just come through the door, and you're just like looking straight up at them because they're huge, and they just come in with all this cash and they just hand it to you. And I'm like, what is happening? It just doesn't even make any sense. You
Yeah,
know?
'cause,
And
like,
that's when it started to click. I was like, okay, maybe we do have something here.
Because we didn't start taking credit cards until like the spring. So it's like
Yeah,
it
months.
was all cash business for a little
Yeah.
bit, and like I'm having to like, you know. Have you ever worked like a fast food job like Subway? Like
Oh, yeah.
that's my first job.
I worked at the Subway in Athens.
Yeah, so it's like you had to balance your drawers. Imagine that trying to balance a drawer with like a delivery driver, and you're getting
Yeah.
like it was such a debacle. So, but there was basically no accounting being done. It was just, hey, you know, give me your cash, we'll square it all away. Here's your take, and that was it. All under the table.
Yeah.
Like it was a racket, man.
And I mean, so once all this started, obviously we already touched on the majors changing a few times, everything like that. But on your guys' end, I mean, John, I think you graduated like it was like a general studies major or something like that, right? Whatever
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Besides the point.
I was
but-
able to name it myself.
Right. It's besides the point. But all that being said, it's just like, at what point in time did you guys realize, like, hey, we have this idea, or did you ever realize we have this idea that's going to be better than any degree we can get here. So we just need to get the degree, but facilitate the business. Like at any point, did the business become more important than classes at OU? And I mean, I assume it did at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
But you can't leave this part out. You gotta talk about
Is the camera good?
What?
you wanted to drop out of school.
Oh yeah, I mean, there were so many times I was just so sick of it. I'm going to class, just waiting for the value to finally, hit me by going to class. It just wasn't. And I could see the value. I saw it in engineering, right? But just not something I wanted to do. And I would have to spend all my time to go down that road. And going to the business classes and things, I just was waiting for, answers and things to help. And then I remember going up to one professor and saying, hey, like, can I work as like accounting class or something? I was like, hey, I have this business. Do you mind if I just accept orders on my phone and send them out to my drivers? Like, this is what it is. She's like,
Oh, like during class.
yeah. She's like, nope, no texting policy. That's it. I was like, even if I'm, running a real business here and like, it's actually productive. No, I was like, okay, well, I'm just not coming.
Yeah.
I was like, it's just not worth it, and different scenarios like that continue to happen. And it was really tough to take it serious. And, I at one point wanted to move to LA. I was ready to hang up Ohio and be done with school and just go out there. And thankfully I didn't do that. And, it was tough to take it serious when you had I remember the first time we realized we went to Ping, which is the rec center. So we went to go play basketball. And I remember looking after we played basketball, how many deliveries we took and like what was going on. I was like, wow, we just got paid to go to the gym. And that kind of just really ruined, because I thought the energy drink company, the pyramid scheme, I thought that ruined my perception of money. This just completely changed everything. So you could say ruined, or, it was a blessing in disguise. That's
Changing the
Just
paradigm.
changed it. Yeah.
Eventually, you saw enough value to give up the other things in the business, right? Over time, it seems like.
Yeah.
Like this happened, I'll give this class up. This happened, yeah.
Yeah, dude, hey, I'll be honest. It became real for me when I started to pay my college, like my tuition bills, with the money I was making.
Oh yeah.
That's when it
That would
became
do
real for me. For me now that I think it was going to be, what it is today. No, but I always heard like, if you work hard and put your time in, like eventually it'll pay off. Like, you guys probably heard that expression, right?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Cream
That's
rises
the
to the
first
top.
time for me. I'm just kidding.
Cream rises to the top, right? It's like I always figured like if I worked really hard at it, it could make something of it. Not to this extent, even close.
Mhm.
But I also started to take it a lot more serious when we started opening up new college, branches like
Right.
at Kent State and Miami and Ohio State. And then also
Yeah.
it really clicked with me that we could do this when John and I took I did the same thing he did. I basically named my own degree. So, but like we did that because we couldn't take our professors seriously that were teaching us about business. Like, we're going to get a business degree, and the guy teaching me has never run a business. He
Yeah.
can't answer simple questions about, that we had. And that's when it became real. Like, okay, school will always be there. I can just always get a degree, but like this, if I really try at this, who knows what could happen?
Mhm. Yeah, it seemed like more of a risk to not try.
Were you guys parents in support of you guys like during the transitionary period and stuff? I'm just curious. Like, you're like gonna be an engineer, you're gonna be a doctor. Like, all right, I'm just running this off the cuff business off my phone now.
Yeah, I didn't tell my parents for a while that I,
Yeah.
wasn't enjoying school and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. That's for sure. After school was done and we were trying to really get it going, my dad was like, you either have to make more money per delivery. You can't be doing this. Doesn't make sense. You don't make enough money. And, he was right, basically, right? We need to make more money. Thankfully, we found catering, which was able to do that, more money per delivery. But yeah, they definitely weren't pumped that I wasn't taking college serious. That's for sure, because they just saw all the bad things that could happen of me just becoming a bum by not going to class.
What about, like, you guys mentioned going out on deliveries and like you're accidentally deleting texts and you're sending SOSs, like tweets, like whose orders this? What dorm are you in? How did you guys get to a point of accountability on a college campus? Like, where you're hiring, I don't even know if it was technically hiring people. You're hiring college kids to pick up random food at random restaurants, go to random dorms, random houses, random apartments. You're hoping they collect the cash if it's not a credit card payment. I mean, at that point you're not actually in a restaurant partnership. So if the restaurant forgets the food, it's just, hey, sorry about it. We can't do anything about it. As opposed to nowadays where we're like reaching out to the restaurant, hey, your customer's missing this. Can driver come back and get it? Did any source of accountability ever kind of transpire over a couple of years on campus?
Yeah, well, so it was really different back then to where we did have a way for customers. So like you could order off of our web application or off our app. Like you could go to deliverthat.com and order food.
Right.
At the time, it was called OU Delivery and Campus Deliv, but you could we literally had stuff put in place. So yeah, there was a bit more organization down the line, but yeah, there was I did the scheduling for our drivers, so that was awesome. I did that every single week for years, and we'd have people that go on shift. You would check in with your basically like I said John and I were the managers at all times. Like one of us was on call at all times. We eventually hired a manager.
We had some dispatchers.
So
right?
just it was like a very, very, very miniature version of what we do right now. Like a very, very, very
Right.
very miniature. So yeah, it started to get legitimate, and there was some organization to it. But talk about the pain points. It was basically we didn't work with any restaurants directly. Can't say that. We didn't work with a lot of the restaurants we ordered from directly. So it was if we ordered the food and it didn't show up to the customer right, we would eat the cost, even if we ordered exactly what the customer ordered. So yeah, there was like a layer removed that we needed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What about I mean, again, we're on a college campus, so there's got to be some classics, like drivers taking food, customers. I think last podcast, John, you mentioned there's a girl who ordered Chipotle who just lived across the street and she ordered it every single day.
Oh yeah,
dude, there are so many. I mean, there's too many to choose from.
We learned quickly that a lot of the things people would order at 1:30 a.m. and then we'd get there at 2 and they're just
Passed out.
no one's there, right? The amount of threats that we're going to call the police or report this to the police, that usually just kind of fixed the problem. We would either get paid the next morning or something like that.
Dude,
they would say we're not going to pay you because we didn't get the food.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Or they'd order food and it's 2 a.m. You're like, well, you're asleep. You're not waking up. Right? You're not waking up till tomorrow. So who's dealing with it? Right.
Yeah.
So we would try to get them to pay.
There were some people that were just pretty religious with it though. That would be every day they'd order every single day. I remember we would do a regular delivery for some kid who had a snake or some reptile. You'd deliver him crickets. We would do some person would deliver homework every week to somebody, to a class he just didn't want to go to.
You'd have someone drop the homework.
Dude,
Yeah, you can do whatever.
I could really think about this. And yeah, Nate, you went to OU. You can relate to all this stuff, man. So,
gosh.
I'll tell you, there's a great one down at Miami University. I'll tell you that one. This is post graduation. Us basically down there,
Brutal.
Just going ham. I remember John. We was pouring one night, and John just backed my car into a pole.
Oh yeah.
Just straight up backed just doing a delivery, doing a McDonald's delivery. Me and him just backed into a pole.
I'm always the driver. That's always.
I'm the
my
runner.
role.
He was the driver.
Yeah, he'd go get the food. I would drop it off, but I would always drive because I didn't have the full trust in his driving skills. And I just drilled this pole. Just his car. I didn't even have a car and just drilled it.
Oh yeah. There's stories like that where or having him, sometimes we would bike around. He might have taken a 45-minute bike ride in sub 30-degree weather.
What's the off-campus housing that the grad students usually
by
live
the
in?
ridges? Remember that?
The Summit.
Summit.
Yeah.
So some girl.
You know how far that is from where the dorms, dude?
It's a hike.
Oh,
you
yeah.
gotta go up that hill too to get to the summit.
It was freezing because we started in November, so it was then. And I take Robbie's bike, and I'm like, all right, it's my turn to do delivery. I'll do it. And I just ride there with this Chipotle bag, just down this. Oh my God, it's so cold. Oh, I was huffing and puffing after. I was like, yeah, I'm never doing that again. There's just no way.
Did you ride back or did someone pick you up?
Oh, I rode back. Oh yeah,
dude. The amount of
there's
times,
no car.
The amount of times that I have heard from John, I'm just done with this. I'm not doing this anymore. I'd be a rich man if I had a fucking.
If you got paid every time.
Whatever. We're gonna bleep that one out.
You guys both stuck with it. That's why we are here today. And I do want to fast forward a little bit too today. And talk
Let's
about
do it.
A couple things. Just current. Because obviously we talked a lot about the college days and whatnot. You guys we were talking briefly about pain points. I mean, obviously there were probably plenty more back then and things like that, but those things evolve and change, right? As the company's evolved, as we do things differently, the new pain points arise as we, clear out the other ones. I just want to talk about some of the challenges you guys still think we have today and we face even though we're so much bigger and so much more skilled. Do you guys have anything in mind that like we still face or that we can voice to the listeners that could, I don't know, help out with the drivers, with the customer, things like that?
Yeah, it's such a broad statement there or question.
It is,
say.
but you know.
Well, like from a day to day, I can let John sort of tackle that more, but talk about like working on the business and like the next, I guess, iteration of Deliver That.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Tristan, you should know this firsthand because you're working directly with me now,
Mm-hmm.
you know, on the software side and the tech side of the business. We're really trying to solve this problem of making sure that the correct delivery driver, whether it's an internal delivery driver to a restaurant, to a third-party delivery driver, you know, through a company like ours or somebody else's, or DoorDash, or whatever the ecosystem needs. Like, we're trying to solve that problem to make sure that the customer ordering the food is having the best experience. I think that's the way you win. And to our knowledge, it doesn't exist. So we're really focused on, I guess, solving that problem right now. At least I am personally.
Well, what does that problem consist of? Like in my mind, it's like order tracking, just making everything more seamless, having a communication process, letting the customer know it's picked up, dropped off, where it is, things like that. Are we talking just customer experience in general?
I think like transparency at all levels, right? Like the restaurant should feel comfortable with the driver. The driver should feel comfortable with the restaurant and the customer they're delivering to. There's so many checks and balances that need to go into this. And, you know, for example, some products you might just allow the customer to pick the delivery company, whether it's, you know, a restaurant's own internal drivers to third-party delivery, or they just don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But like the customer might not know, you know, all of the inner details behind, you know, maybe Deliver That's available to take this delivery and not this company that they requested. Maybe they're going to get a better level of service from us today than they would from them today.
For sure.
Or maybe like, for example, you know, I've ordered food from a restaurant where I've had a terrible experience and I never want a third party to deliver that food ever again. So I only want the restaurant to deliver. Like having data on those customers and those brands and knowing why to send a driver. Right. I think there's a lot to explore to solve that problem. Like it's the tip of the iceberg for us.
Basically like tailoring the experience to the customer's needs. So in my mind, what you just said that immediately pops up is Qdoba, a national partner with us. If they also work through ezCater. So if a customer orders Qdoba through ezCater, that delivery can go to Deliver That, DoorDash, whoever. They have a million delivery service partners. But what that customer could do is on the delivery say, hey, we specifically need this delivery to be set up. It has to be set up with the racks. It has to have the sternos lit, has to have the chips organized, everything that. Deliver That does that. DoorDash typically does not. So are you saying in some realm of things, you would give the customer an option based on what their expectations are for the delivery itself?
I think you could even remove the, I guess, gathering from the customer to basically have a system that's smart enough to know that stuff. So like whether you ordered food from ezCater or Qdoba, whatever method you did as a customer, whether you ordered it yesterday, 3 years ago, 10 years ago, like we're going to have data on you to know like, oh, at this drop off, for example, is a skyscraper. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not going to send, you know, a Deliver That driver or somebody else that's historically cannot deliver to this building. I need to find an alternative. So like just having a system that recognizes that can correctly, I guess, allocate and choose the right DSP, whether it's us, or I say DSP, right method of delivery, whether it's internal to that restaurant. Maybe there's some instances where customers, we should say, hey, you should just come pick the order up. It's like, that's where we're at. We've perfected, well, I can't say perfected, but we've gotten as close to 100% on the quality piece as we ever have. But we've realized that just as quality is important, you know, so is coverage. Man, if a restaurant sends you a delivery, you need to take that 99.9% out of 100.
I mean, quality doesn't matter if it doesn't even get there.
For sure.
Right.
True.
So it's like the real problem is A to B. So you got to make sure that every delivery is getting there. And then, okay, where should the quality piece, you know, what deliveries today should have the highest quality, right? Maybe highest cost, first time customer, things like that. I think what we're seeing, you know, on a day-to-day basis within our company is that we need to be able to really rely on restaurants And a lot of our issues come from restaurant delays. Not saying that we're always on time,
Right.
but I think if there's a layer of trust, or maybe it's trustless, you don't even have to trust. It's just, this is our priority. We're going to make sure the food's ready at this time. That's big. And if you think about the downfalls of delivery, you know, it's maybe drivers not having the equipment to transport it. Maybe there's customer service at the end that maybe, you know, your manager would do better than maybe, you know, our brand new driver. It's their first day. I would think maybe your manager may treat them a little bit better, right? So it's like, what can the restaurant do to mitigate the risks of those problems where, well, maybe your packaging shouldn't just be, I don't know, you have $1,000 order and a DoorDash driver shows up with one delivery bag. Well, if you have 30 pans on the table, well, I don't think that delivery is going to make it there. But if you had bags and everything was bagged up, the driver could at least get the food there, right? Then maybe you have a complaint that it's not set up perfectly. Well, at least the food got there, right? But if you're not prepared, or you're not preparing or setting up delivery for success in areas like that, where it might be packaging, communication, things like that, getting more information from the customer. It's just going to be difficult.
Like knowing the right questions to ask them as well. You know, like
you're going downtown. Is this, if a driver showed up, are they going to be able to get in there? Or is there parking that they should know? Should they just go pay somewhere for parking? Should we invoice you for something like that?
Yeah. So it's like, there are things out there that exist that like solve this for a lot of different scenarios, but not like 100% and not to the best of its ability. So like, we're trying to bring a holistic approach where it's like, you know, we want to work with that restaurant to make this delivery successful, but in turn, they're going to have to rely on us, rely on their customer, you know. So it's like we're trying to work with all the parties available to make it the best delivery experience for that customer, for the restaurant, and for the driver.
Yeah. So we're trying to eliminate risk, and I think restaurants could definitely do the same, where it's like, let's make sure the risks are really low on each delivery, right? Have the good packaging, make sure it can at least get there, and then go from there, you know.
I think it's a really good approach too, because you had mentioned making like a seamless experience for the customer, but like you just said, it's really the whole circle. It's like, how do we make it seamless for the driver? How do we make it seamless for the customer? How do we make it seamless for the restaurant?
Yeah,
and it's just a whole great experience.
Yeah. And on that driver point, I mean, if you go to a restaurant, you know, usually each day, I don't know, say you have a favorite restaurant as a driver, it's easy to park. They're usually on time. Well, if they start becoming late, and you have another delivery after, and you have to constantly give that delivery away and lose that delivery because you're sitting there waiting at a restaurant, as a driver, why would you keep going back, right? So they're also a customer as well, right? They need to be treated just the same. If they have a bad experience, drivers are valuable. You know, you might lose a driver that doesn't want to go to your restaurant anymore.
What did you guys see? I know we can pull it up here. Christian threw it up on his LinkedIn. I think at the end of last weekend or something, it did some pretty big impression numbers. But the picture from the Buca de Beppo out in Wheeling, I think it's just north of Chicago, the little table with had like a greeting for the drivers, like a bag of chips and a drink and things like that. Building these relationships between like the restaurants and the drivers, it's kind of for me, it's similar to what we always talked about with like the drivers and delivery volume. Like, it's a chicken or the egg thing. Like, if that Buca de Beppo in Chicago had 4 deliveries that back to back, our driver shows up late 15, 20 minutes. Well, now that store is basically in the back of their mind probably going to go, well, maybe I'll prepare the next order 10 minutes later so I'm more close to on time when that driver's going to get here. Or like you said, if you have a driver who consistently goes to your restaurant every single day, and he knows they're on time, but now they're late 15, 20, 25 minutes, but at some point you have to change what you're doing to accommodate the other party. So is there just like a meeting of the minds, or like at some point you basically just have to make a decision? Like, obviously everything should be on time. If it's a 10:45 pickup, that food should be ready on the table. Driver walks in, bags it up, gets a signature, they're out the door. But but we're in reality. That happens 6 out of 10 times, I think, on our platform, maybe, if that. So what can you actually do is it a data thing where you collect interactions and then you build logic based off of that? Or is it just simply like it is what it is?
Yeah, like understanding, like you just said, like it is data. So which drivers are consistently late and why are they late? Is it traffic? Is it because they started the job late or early? Is it because they just showed up late? Is it because they were on a previous delivery? Like understanding why the driver was late and also understanding why the restaurant was late to make the food. Not to put the restaurants on blast, but out of all of our deliveries that are deemed compromised, the source of the issue is 80% of the time is restaurants not having food ready, forgetting items. And that's not to say that we're perfect, because we are not in any shape or form. Deliver that is not perfect, and we're striving to be, but it's a tall task. But like, we want to work with those restaurants to help improve their operation, because I mean, you talk to other delivery companies, they see the exact same thing. And like, we want to help these restaurants have a better experience, like capitalize on this opportunity. And that is done. A lot of what you just said, it's solved with technology. It's solved with, analytics. It's understanding why, people, whether it's a driver or a restaurant, are late, and you can handle that with technology, or you can just build around it. Like having data to know, like, hey, in Jackson Township, the Moe's Southwest Grill is notoriously 5 minutes late on every single, getting every order ready. Just build that into the algorithm.
Yeah, maybe
just having that kind of stuff, like, that's what we're talking about, being smarter and having reasons why you do things, not just because someone feels a certain way.
For sure. What do you think about that, T?
I mean, I think it's genius, and me and Aaron are working on, and Matt as well, the technology department, are working on building stuff like that, but you can't go too much into detail, but it's looking pretty good. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's funny, like he talks about it, but how it works.
He won't.
On the back
Yeah,
end
he won't go into detail. I hope just don't go into detail
No.
about it, because it's very, that's the precious stuff, man. But we've been using this system now for months. You guys didn't probably even realize. I mean, the data will show it. Obviously, like, we're solving a big problem now. But no, we have gained so much business, just operational knowledge over the last couple years. I'd say not a couple, just almost 10 years doing this on what it takes to be successful delivering. And now we're at the point where we realize it's a holistic approach. If you really want to capitalize on this, you've got to rely on your restaurant or your partner. You've got to rely on the customer. You got to rely on the driver, and also our internal team, right? Like, can our call center scale with your operations? Can we provide the level of service that you guys need, whether it's a driver, a restaurant, or a customer? So that's the problem that we're trying to tackle right now.
What about you brought up the transparency piece a couple minutes ago, and all that being said, it's like, if we do have a restaurant that's late, or a driver that's going to be delayed, do you think the transparency piece is just simply enough? Just obviously you're letting that customer know, but sometimes, and this speak back to when I was in dispatch, and maybe T as well, you almost didn't know if that message was getting relayed sometimes. Like, you didn't know if a driver called in and they said, hey, this store's gonna be another 15 minutes. All right, no problem. We'll let the customer know, or let the restaurant know. Is the restaurant reaching out to the customer? On a platform like ours, is there a way to elevate those solutions where it's coming from us, or are those always going to be coming from the restaurant end of things?
Dude, they're coming from us right now. We have an algorithm, like an alerting algorithm, that literally does this right now. So to answer your question, is like, yeah, we can do both ways. But to talk about like the over concept of like transparency, think about it like this. If you were a customer and your food is going to arrive 2 minutes late, would you want to know or not know?
2 minutes late, I wouldn't care.
Exactly. So we don't do that right now, because like, again, like we take an approach of like, from the driver to the restaurant to like our internal staff to also the customer. What if you're going to be 10 minutes late?
I would appreciate a heads up.
Yeah, and it's like, at the end of the day, you're not going to be disgruntled or angry or pissed off if in order to be 10 minutes late, right? That's acceptable.
Right.
What if it's 20 or 30 minutes late?
Yeah, I mean, depending on the scenario, it could be a very big problem. It could not be a big deal.
So I just named 3 different type of events, like delay events, and like, you need to handle those differently.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying transparency. It's like, you've got to be transparent with everybody that's in play, right? Like, the driver's got to know, the restaurant's got to know, the customer has to know. It hurts you more if they don't know. So that's what I'm talking about, like, transparency wise. Like, we believe that wholeheartedly, and if you're transparent more than not, chances are you're going to get out ahead of a problem before it even exists.
Yeah, I mean, and like John was talking about earlier, like all the variables too that exist, like the restaurant being late, the driver being late. It's like that's probably the best, one of the best ways to handle it. I mean, but you have to have something, I feel like, in place on your end to be able to do that, because you can't control all of those variables that happen, you know? So you have to.
No, you can't. But
you can handle.
Yeah. You can prepare for them and then handle them when they come in.
Yes.
For sure. And what about John? You're kind of talking about stores being prepared. You know, are the pans just laid out on the counter? Are they in bags? Is it a seamless grab and go for our drivers? Do they got to pack stuff up? On my end, I do a lot of work in Nate as well with our setup photos, and a lot of the setup photos that win nowadays are, you know, we have like Takaya. They have those bright blue boxes. We just had one from Velvet Taco, I think. They same thing, like taco boxes. They're very sturdy, very easy to transport. Red Robin has their burger box. They're bright red. Branding's great, easy to travel, easy to navigate. It's done. It's over.
Love it.
Do you think things should go the way of that, where it's the restaurant's already pre-packaged, it's ready to go, you put it in the bag, or you just throw it in the car and you leave? Or is it just a scenario like what do the restaurants have available to them? Like if you don't have that, go ahead, put it in a plastic bag, or just don't basically leave it on the counter for our driver to figure out themselves. Is that?
Yeah, I think the main idea is, you know, setting yourself up for success, right? And just handling the errors, handling the issues, right? You know, until robots are doing everything, or the amount of money per delivery is just through the roof, where you can get where you can ensure that someone will show up every single time, 100% of the time, we know there's going to be errors. So until then, you should probably prepare and try to mitigate the issues that happen. You know, if someone doesn't show up, that's different, right? But usually we can send another driver and get there. But when it comes to, you know, packaging and just kind of preparing for those issues to come, I think if you make the delivery as easy as possible, right? You have a ton of instructions from the customer. Your food isn't spilling in the driver's car. I mean, if that happens once, me as a driver, I'm not going back, right? So it's like, it's like these drivers are also customers. They have the choice to take these deliveries on most platforms, right? So if they have the choice, just like a customer has a choice to order, you should treat them just like the customer, right? So it's make that delivery as easy as possible when it comes to picking up, not waiting at the restaurant, or not waiting, making the drop off seamless, right?
Education
and
piece.
those boxes would make it easy to set up, right?
Oh yeah.
Might not get any complaints because it's already set up.
Clip
Right?
it.
And that goes back to your, you know, the talk about Christian's post on LinkedIn. It's like Buca di Beppo already stands out amongst our fleet of drivers now. They're
Right.
already standing out by just by taking 5 minutes to put a basket up, a sign, a Coke, and a bag of chips.
And they're not
They're
coming
just
for the Coke, right? They're coming because people care.
Yeah,
Right.
and so like that right there, it's just so simple. But people just don't do it.
I mean,
They don't think about it like that. They think of a driver as like it's a necessary evil. Man, if you're working with a third-party delivery company, like whether you want to believe it or not, they're part of your team and they're interacting with your customer. So you probably want to have them be pumped to deliver your food.
I mean,
That's
you're delivering
facts.
a 30-person catering. I mean, you got 30 customers there. What are
Yeah,
you doing?
I
Right? Treat these
think
people like they're your
too,
employees.
what gets like lost in translation sometimes too is that these drivers are just like single person entities.
Yep.
Where like, and the reality of it is, at Deliver That, we have thousands upon thousands of drivers in each market around the United States. And if one driver, if Tristan goes into and waits 45 minutes for that delivery, and then the customer gets mad at him because people didn't tell the customer the food was going to be late, that driver doesn't go home and sulk about that delivery. That driver calls Deliver That. He's pissed off about it. Then that driver goes and he talks to his 2 friends that are on Deliver That. He talks to his 4 buddies who do Uber Eats on the side. He talks to his other buddies that drive DoorDash every now and then. Filters through all those systems. And you know who's going to stop getting their orders taken? Because they treat the drivers like shit. They treat the customers poorly, and no one wants to deal with it.
Let's not put Bill on blast.
Yeah,
all right?
We can bleep it out if need be. But yeah, it was
Let's
just
not put them on blast.
just setting an example.
But I completely agree, right? In fact, we've had to, no names, right? We've had to literally cancel contracts
Yeah.
and fire customers because of this. Because, you know, you're not meeting the expectations of our partnership and our drivers, which to us, our drivers, they are and will always be our most important asset, right? They're the reason why we're in business. It's the people, right? So, I mean, to me, exactly. It's like you you've got to treat them like a customer. They're a vital piece of the supply chain.
I mean, I've heard there's restaurants that won't even let our drivers in the door if they're, if they open at 11 and it's 10:50.
Right.
And what are you guys doing? They're about to take $300, $500 of your food, and you're already going to make them angry at yourself. You think they're going to be just absolutely jacked and excited and pumped up to deliver that food for you? I mean, I don't know. I think you should just treat them well.
I feel like if you took
you're not going to get
anybody-
hurt doing that.
I feel like if you took anybody from the DT office who's been here a while and put them like in a catering manager like position somewhere, they would just like kill it. Because they
Oh,
just
here,
know the in and out.
I'll tell you, if there's any brands watching this,
Yeah.
you can reach out to me directly. I will personally transform your catering program.
Yeah.
Personally, I know exactly the levers to pull. We know everything. We have all the insights.
Yeah.
We know what packaging, like who to go after, which channels to go on. If you're not on Easy Cater, you better get on it, right? They give you so much revenue.
Yep.
I mean, we could help brands left and right. It's just we've got to now decide as a company, like, who do you help, right? Who do we invest our time in helping to grow their operation? So if you're looking to take catering serious, I mean, you got to reach out to us. That's all we're doing.
Yep.
I think that I think we'll set the tone there for that conversation. I did what T we got time? Oh, we got
Yeah, let's run through this little game.
we got 20 minutes. All right. I want to bring it back full circle here. We're going to bounce back to Athens, Ohio. I know I don't maybe Nate will have to filter your answers to you cuz you didn't attend.
Oh yeah, Nate, will you just like kind of whisper me some
Yeah,
answers?
so maybe Nate will help you out, but we're gonna steal some ideas here, more or less, folks. I'm not gonna lie about it, but we're gonna do an on-campus food draft at Ohio University. Nate, who? It's gonna be a snake draft, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Obviously, just like fantasy football, pretty straightforward. Nate, who do we want to start first?
Let's start with Benny. We'll help T out. So go Benny. Go.
Can you move that TV so I can see you?
And I did prepare a list yesterday evening. So Tristan's got a list of a solid 20 to 25 establishments. So he's not flying blind. I will. So I got picks 1, and man, that's gonna be a bounce back. It's gonna be tough. Man, we talked about this off camera too.
And what is you're drafting just the best food in Athens?
So we talked about this a little bit off camera. It can go one of two ways. It's on campus food, so it can't be on State Street, like nothing out there. No, not the Mexican restaurant, Taco Bell, nothing out there. It's gotta be. It's basically on Court Street or on East State, more or less, is what we're going for. And yeah, I mean, we're just doing top on campus food options. So what you thought was the best, what you ate the most, what you had the best experience at. I don't care how you grade it. It's really up to you.
Is there a list to draft from? Do they need a list or no?
Tristan.
They don't need a list.
Come on.
You needed the list.
It was just for me.
I listed those yesterday just so I could like refresh myself. I was staring at Google Maps and like going up and down Court Street.
Are there projections or like what's?
No
Oh,
projections.
okay.
I will. I'm gonna start round
What are
1.
you talking about, man?
What's the ADP of?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
where
trying to
should
win this
where should
season.
each one be drafted? We'll
Yeah.
get draft grades. We'll throw them up on Twitter or something. We'll get some draft grades after this. I'm gonna go my number 1 pick. This is probably not going to be an appreciated number 1 pick, but just surely off pure volume of my consumption, it has to be Suvaki's on East State. I think I've eaten easily my weight in cheese balls,
See, I was never that impressed with Slovaki's personally.
and it's pretty expensive.
Clip it.
It's pretty expensive for what it is. It's pretty expensive. But I mean, I've seen, man, Haslam. I've chugged beers with the guy. I've had chug contests. They got a big pickle jar.
Ooh, that sounds good.
You're in late night pickles at 2:30 in the morning. You got a gyro. You got your cheese balls.
Welcome to Athens.
I mean,
welcome
man,
home.
I'll tell you what. I ate a lot of them.
Okay.
T, number 2. Who do you got?
Yeah. So for number 2,
You gotta make up a story too about how good it was.
yeah. So Jackie O's.
Dude, come on, man.
Jackie O's is they make the beer, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Mystic Mama. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Jackie O's because, man, I absolutely love their beer. This one time I drank it; it was delicious.
Yeah, they got a good sit down environment. It's all
think-
right.
So when John and I were, at school, that was a regular, during the week pregame where we would pick up a 6-pack each of the
Mystic
Mystic
Mama.
Mamas, or was it Raz Wheats?
Ooh, those are
Just
good
any
too.
IPA.
We would play beer die, right?
Yeah.
And we would just that was the beers. Some of the beers.
This is classic Slayer.
Were you gonna pick
pregame.
that?
Don't worry about one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Nate,
mean-
how are we going? Once. So John's next.
Yeah.
John's 3. All right, John 3.
So I don't think they're around anymore. But Habibis. And this is Habibis before the new ownership.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's
not-
you gotta give the deal we struck with this guy.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
not even on my list.
Oh yeah. So this is it was Danny from Habibis. I think his name was there's no way it's Danny. But Danny we struck a deal with him and it was we'll do your deliveries for free food. So we would
Oh yeah.
go to the gym, walk
I
back,
remember this.
walk right in there, grab a euro, grab a what was the chicken chicken
Shawarma.
Shawarma. Yeah.
Grape leaves, oh dude.
Oh, the grape leaves. Yeah, he was having to try everything.
Spanakopita. The.
Dude, everything.
And we would
stuff.
it was 4 times a week probably for maybe 2 semesters.
Yeah, it was a wow.
It was actually, you talk about volume. I mean, this is
The
a
volume
this is a
of food
volume
can-
play.
yeah.
That's for
The
sure.
thing is, he didn't have that many deliveries either, so I feel like we kind of won on that. But he was a really good guy. We
Yeah.
always gave him business. We'd always recommend him.
Yeah,
So.
he's from Lebanon and he had to go back and then he had to hand off the ownership to someone else.
Habibis was like on the north end of Court Street.
It was right by the cat.
Yeah, right across the street from what Jimmy John's and
Yeah.
Ginger.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah,
and it
it's-
was like one of the highest quality food. I mean, just the he would just shave the lamb down. Oh, it
Oh
was so
man,
good.
don't get me started.
And it was free. So that anything free in college, that's just already times 2.
That was like every Sunday I'd grab that.
Oh yeah.
All right, number 4. Skip, who you got?
Ginger, man.
Oh yeah.
We
Yeah.
work with Ginger too, so I'm kind of biased, although they weren't the best to work with. I'll put it that way. But man, talk about I don't know what kind of meat they were serving up. If it was chicken, steak, what it was, man, but it was good. And they had the best sauce.
Yeah, it didn't matter with all that yum on
Dude.
it.
Yep.
And my one grief with them though is I think it was going into it was a senior year. They shrunk the bowl size down,
Oh yeah.
so like you'd get less food. I remember getting like it was like Chipotle, right? There was like a meal half.
Yeah.
You go get 2 meals, and then they just I'm like, all right,
Yep.
whatever.
Saw right through it.
Yeah. That was the place I definitely started getting sushi. That like broke my
Yeah, they did have
Sushi
sushi. I
virginity.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
All right, you're back around. Skip, number 5.
I'm up again.
Yeah, snake draft.
Ooh.
Man, I'm gonna throw in just a wild card here because you guys, no way, you guys are gonna pick this.
You never know.
Shively Food Hall.
Ooh.
Oh, I have a good one. I have a comparable option.
I was gonna say
I have a-
Shively
Yeah.
because
I have a comparable option.
and I'm taking Shively because they had number 1 unlimited grilled chicken breasts. They weren't like the fried ones
Oh,
at what was that, Nelson?
Yep.
If Nelson would just put them in. No, these guys were actually grilled on a grill, so they were perfect, and they had the best honey mustard. So, and dude, I just would eat like 10 chicken breasts and just honey mustard, and it was great.
That grabbing.
But yeah, but that's also why I picked it was because they had like a little like grab and go station. Was it that with the subs?
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Dude,
grab
the
and go.
subs.
The subs, yeah.
So I get
it was,
both.
it was
right?
it was like its own section. It was
Oh,
on like
yeah.
the back end of
So,
it.
but I get both of that draft pick, right? Shively and I get
Oh yeah, and the
because
sub
that
place.
those
it's
subs.
pretty
Yeah.
good.
Although that 15-cent lunch meat, the sub was great.
This is probably gonna sound outlandish, but Jim and I were going somewhere the other day, right in Belden, and I don't know why this idea sprung upon my head, but let's bring back a dining hall in Belden Village. Like,
I mean, you have
would
every
pay,
other
I would
restaurant.
pay $50 a week to be able to go get a meal a day at a dining hall.
That it will probably
Was that
be
a
the
thing?
next evolution for restaurants.
I mean,
is
at a
just meal
dining hall,
plans.
it's part of your tuition and everything, but that's what I'm saying. They're like a commissary kitchen or something where they got pizza, they got pasta, they got fish, they
Yeah,
got
it's like-
chicken.
Make it so it's like it's not like a high cost item, so like they're not
Right.
getting they're not getting got.
do
You know
so
what
many
I'm saying?
chicken
Go to
thighs.
Katana's. It's a
Yeah,
buffet.
I was about to say, I also think I did just describe what a buffet is.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
literally a
I,
buffet. It's like,
yeah.
Hey, I'm with you though. Bring it back.
yeah.
We're just
Yeah.
looking for this quality that isn't there.
Yeah,
I'll never
I didn't
know
really,
what's different, like-
I didn't really process.
I just
that.
described a buffet.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll keep it moving. We'll keep
All right, so you
moving.
got Shively,
Number 6.
and there's definitely different reasons, not just because you're hungry and it tastes really good, that we would go to these different places.
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
whatever
it
reason
might
you
be
need.
your location of where you're at.
Might be they had a good wing night,
Yep.
Don't
a good
overthink
burger
it, man.
day.
there's a lot of different ways, but definitely something that changed the way I look at food was it was the first order we ever accidentally deleted, and it was from Bronies, and they had fried pickles.
Oh man.
And we were like, all right, we'll give these people, 15, 20 minutes to respond to the tweet, or this food's ours. And I had that, and I was like, wow, I love these.
Never seen someone eat pickles that fast.
They ever respond?
Bronies. I worked at Bronies
No,
for like 8 months.
I think they did respond like the next day.
Oh, it's like, oh, those were
It's either that or it was like after we ate it or
Yeah, it was
something.
like
Yeah.
they definitely responded after we ate them. We
Oh,
just
yeah.
didn't respond back.
Pickles with the boom boom sauce.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
That
that
sounds
that's good stuff.
amazing.
Yeah, so I'll toss that on there just because it changed the trajectory
Brownies.
of my food experience.
Bronies was on the
Write that one
list.
down,
Yeah,
yeah.
Bronies was on the list.
Yep.
Food Hall.
Yeah, Shiva. There's a couple others on the list though. I just didn't mention it.
Because you didn't go to OU, Tristan.
Yeah,
No, he built the list.
Did you go to Hawking?
No, I
I was
went
kidding.
to Star State.
Fair enough.
And I wasn't broke. You know what I mean?
What do you got? Number 7.
All right. So Nate, what was my who would I draft here? Big Mamas.
Come
What-
on.
Why do I like Big
man.
Mamas, Nate?
Burritos.
Burritos.
3:30 a.m.
I mean, the amount of people that I saw online there that pissed their pants. Just,
No, really,
dude, I mean, it was like a,
Well, you'd be
People-
standing there for an hour, and it's
It's-
like
yeah,
right after
it
you
was
leave the
bad.
bar.
The
no,
lines,
like
they were
no,
bad.
They wouldn't
legitimately,
give up their spot.
drunk guys would stand in line and piss their pants
Just
and
to
get
get
food.
food.
Yeah,
I
'cause
swear.
you can't lose your spot. You
We
lose
know a
your
couple
spot,
of
it's
them
over.
personally.
Yeah, I can name a couple off the top of my head right now. People I know that done that.
John Z.
no,
Oh,
no, not
Big
John.
Mamas.
Definitely not in this room.
Yeah,
Well,
it's not
Did you
here.
try it yet in Cleveland?
Yeah. The
And?
rice was a little hard, but it was
Really? Yeah,
Hard,
they
right.
just got one
Huh.
in Cleveland. He moved up there. He tried it the other
Yeah,
day.
Big Mamas?
but Big Mamas, you wouldn't go for lunch.
Oh no,
You
no,
are-
no.
You're barely walking in there.
It's the same with
No,
Slovaki's. Like
you know,
Slovaki's for most people was like a bars close at 2. It's open till 3. We're hitting it right after.
Yeah.
It's like here's
I
after hours.
got to a point where I was getting it for lunch at 12:30 some days. It just
already
it just depended what was
I know. I
happening.
think you just getting it.
Yeah.
Wasn't drunk. I think you just
It's
grabbed
neither
some
here
food.
nor there if I was drunk or not.
Man,
It
you
doesn't-
were-
It'd be
you-
better if you were drunk.
I
then
think
you
Ben
could- that'd be
Ben
better.
was this close to being a townie in Athens.
It
He was that close.
I kind of
It
was.
seems kinda
honestly.
easy.
I wasn't going to class, so I basically was a townie. So.
Sounds kind of like it'd be something you want to do.
All right,
your turn.
I got the swing back too. Again, based off sheer volume, I'll have to go courtside pizza.
Mm.
I think
Good choice.
the buffalo chicken. I mean, they got boneless wings. They got some good wings, mozz sticks, whatever you got in a fryer, you're throwing it in there. Also worked at courtside pizza. There were nights. I mean, this goes. I just told this story the other day to someone. Bronies and courtside, their food, like when you work in a kitchen, it's usually like, yeah, you make like yourself a burger at the end of your shift or something. Bronies had none of it. You didn't make anything for yourself. You didn't eat anything. So it was like every mozz sticks order, I made 6, but I threw a 7th one in that I could sneak. You know what I mean? Courtside, it was a free for all. I was working a shift. And I would like get off at like 11:30. So the kitchen's in the back. You walk down the ramp. Everyone's in the front in the corner, basically waiting for you. I would get off at like 11:30, and I'd have a box of like 25 wings and like 30 mozz sticks, and we would just bring them out to the bar, and I just hand them out. Everyone would just smash and get a nice quick base in.
I
So you
remember.
worked there.
Yeah,
I remember Ben giving me food, like almost every shift he worked there.
it was
Because I was a regular courtside.
it was like clockwork.
I was
both
gonna
were
ask
regulars
him-
at
I was gonna ask you how you
courtside.
paid for
Oh,
all
no.
these
There
restaurants
was-
because
I didn't pay for anything at courtside, and that's also
Yeah,
ultimately
beer.
why I got
Actually,
fired. But
neither did we.
The beer
yeah, but
too.
you guys are in college, right? So you're in college, you're broke probably, and you said you were working what a Subway at one point.
You gotta make again.
Yeah.
Like we
You
make we
Yeah.
You strike deals.
we strike deals, man.
yeah,
Like,
did you ever meet?
we struck a deal with numerous bartenders at courtside that
Oh, yeah.
hey, you give us free drinks, you never have to worry about a delivery.
Yep.
And I swear to you, those guys got free food and free deliveries from us as long as they gave us free drinks. The second they took it away, there was one of the guys that took it away.
I remember that.
He
yeah.
tried to order
Mhm.
again.
Yeah, no
He
way.
Didn't
don't-
happen.
It's like no soup for you, no
Yeah.
delivery for you.
Yeah,
It was the exact same thing. So
I mean, Mario would just have 2 IPAs. It was always Sierra Nevada.
the second we would walk in,
Just ready to go,
It's
baby.
incredible.
That's awesome.
You
It's
better
like it's like a
believe-
country club or something. It's
and you better
amazing.
believe on that Sunday morning when you get the Mario text, I need this, boom, right
Oh, yeah.
then and there.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
First try we got available. Courtside pizza. Love it. Love it. Love it. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Number 8. I'm in a dilemma. You brought up Shively, and I have a similar pick on here, and I don't know if I should go with it or not. I'm going to Baker Food Court.
Oh man. Yep.
That actually had the best food on campus.
flex
Baker Food Court. And if you'll allow to include Latitude 39 as well, an actual sit
never
down
had that.
diner. Really?
Never had that.
It was in Baker as well. Nate, yeah, it was like an actual like restaurant. That's like you go and get like a steak and like mashed potatoes.
We should, you know
there.
what we should do? We should have all the OU people go to OU one of these days, and we just do this as a group and like go hit all these food places again. That'd be so cool.
That would be sick. That's
How
a
many
great
places
idea.
you can eat at in
yeah,
one day?
bring the mascot down and just have a day.
That's a great idea. Like tour the dorms, like knock on room 305, and be like, hey,
Oh,
I used to
yeah.
live here.
Oh, they would want to, dude. We could get in with the. We still talk to the deans and stuff. So.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
We can make that happen.
Mhm.
Yeah, Baker Food Court, number 8 on my list. Number 9. And this is the last go around too, right? This is round 4.
All right, Nate, where we going with number 9?
Uptown Grill, aka Chicken and Waffles.
Oh, kid,
man.
is that it's not an establishment anymore, right?
I will tell you guys.
It's out of business now.
I will tell you a disgusting story after he's done.
Because I was gonna do Court Street Diner too, but I looked it online. Court Street Diner is permanently closed now as
Nuh-uh.
well.
What?
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's another like chain brunch place now.
Yeah, they
Of
closed
Of
it
course.
down.
Why
Why not?
Uptown Grill?
They have chicken and waffles.
Yeah, chicken and
The
waffles.
chicken
Yeah,
that's
I'll
my
explain
favorite.
why
I put
Uptown-
sriracha on
I'll
mine.
explain why Uptown Grill.
I actually didn't know it was Uptown Grill until you called it that. I always just called it chicken and
Same.
waffles.
Yeah.
I'd have a friend. He used to work here. He would visit me in college, though. You remember Blake?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Dude, Blake would visit me in college, and I swear every time he would visit, he would legitimately bring back 30 chicken and waffles.
Yes.
I'm talking to the point where it was
You
disgusting.
buy for like the whole line.
Dude, it was like I'm talking like I'm not exaggerating, 30 of them. And if one is plenty, like half of one is plenty. Like
Yeah.
30 of them would last you like 3 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and I've watched him put down 3 or 4 in a sitting.
Oh man,
Dude,
that's
It's
a good
impressive.
draft. That's a good draft. John, last pick. What do you got?
Thank you.
Man.
What was the bar?
Oh, Wings Over.
Yeah,
It was
Dude,
right across
come
the
That's an
street.
easy one.
They were always so good.
that's an easy one.
Yeah. Because you guys named most of the places.
Is that
There's
what you-
one other place we would hit. Basically right across the street from it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, okay, I'm in a dilemma. I want to say
Oh, you
Pita. I want to say Pita Pit, but I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah.
What was the bar?
Just
that,
throwing food in that pocket they had. That's all that thing is. a
The
big
pub.
what
pocket.
was the bar that was not?
Pigskin.
No, it wasn't Pigskin. It was the bar same side of
Oh,
the
overhang.
overhang.
Well, it was when they had the chef for like
Yeah.
a month.
So
But either way,
I'm gonna pick overhang, and because we struck a deal. But
didn't get much out of it.
Overhang across from Stevens. Overhang.
yeah.
Yeah.
But so we struck a deal with that owner as well, but didn't last very long because I think they fired the chef. But anyways,
Yeah, I got a huge-
they served us some pretty good food, and at the end, you know, they're like, hey, we have a burger called the Homer Simpson. And I was like, give me that.
Oh, yeah.
I'll try Homer Simpson. It was literally like a gigantic pound burger with like massive donuts as the bread.
Incredible.
And that's just why, because it was just a ridiculous sandwich.
Wait,
Yep.
we have one more
What?
pick.
That
That was only his third pick. So we got one more. Yeah. So what was your other one? You don't have a dilemma now. Your last pick.
Overhang, and then I would say Pita Pit just for the sheer the amount of pitas I've eaten.
Pita Pit. Yeah, Pita Pit's definitely like a national chain.
Yeah,
That,
definitely.
that to me, before we fest, hitting Pita Pit. But yeah, if like you got $5, Pita Pit.
That's such like in my mind, like I immediately am like, that's an ad. Like if I'm Pita Pit on campus at Athens, I'm like immediately putting tweets out like Fest Pita Pit. like that.
Yeah,
is-
it's like-
that's amazing.
Well, because it was cheaper than Subway, and it was more flavorful than Subway, and I'm like a Subway kind of guy.
yeah.
It's quick, easy, just a sandwich.
yeah, I
But
got
like
Subway.
this was like better than Subway. That's why I'm going with Pita Pit.
What else? What else is on
I
that
don't know.
street?
Do you want me to name some?
Sure.
All right, we got Bagel Street.
Oh my god.
How did I forget, dude? That's
oh
like a
my god.
I shouldn't have let him read the list. There's some
Wow.
gems on that list.
Yeah, bagels. Bagel Street.
Bagel
all
Street
day.
Deli.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that was the most delivered food we did.
You got
Really?
The
Most
the
delivered
Seinfeld.
place.
or the
I
Jerry
think
or
I only
something
had
like
it like 2
Yeah,
times.
Sunday morning.
Dude,
Yes.
that was just every Friday,
Nate,
Saturday,
are we good on the
Sunday.
camera?
That was getting delivered all day, nonstop.
That was amazing.
Yeah, Bagel Street Deli. Yeah, I only had it a number of times. T, what your last pick?
Well, this is pretty much just Nate picking. So Nate, we need one more pick here, okay?
He's perusing Court Street on his phone right now.
God, this probably looks so different.
I don't
Some
know what my
different
last
restaurants.
pick's gonna be.
Tell you, we should just get a group and go down there one
Can I
of these
get that
days.
list?
I'm down.
I'm surprised you want to go.
I think that's honestly like a
think it's
really good
time.
idea.
Yeah,
like
we've been gone long enough now. It's
I think it's
now
time
like
to
what
go back.
about this is
there's no one
I-
there. That we
We'll do we hit Benner's house afterwards.
I usually I like to reuse a lot of ideas typically, but
Betty's?
Oh,
Oh, Betty's. Why oh Betty's?
that is a good
Hot
one.
dogs.
That is a
Ugh.
good one.
Dude, that's just garbage. Oh, Betty's? I mean, I remember doing a couple of those deliveries. That was just slop.
I'd like to
that was
change.
yeah.
slop
I'd like
in
to
a
change my
trough.
pick.
Oh yeah,
That's just like you guys have Skyline chili.
Yeah.
It's like that, but worse.
What?
it's like the poor
Come
man's
on, Nate.
Portillo's or
No,
something.
it's-
That's good.
Yeah, if you want just raging diarrhea, eat Oh Betty's.
Sometimes you need it.
Yeah, this sounds like a good like hangover food or something like
I want
that.
the full reset.
All right. So last pick in the draft.
I'm gonna look differently.
That
than you
Court
now.
Street
You're an Oh
Diner's
Betty's
pretty
guy?
good, but that would be like when your parents come.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
just kidding,
what-
Nate. I'm just kidding.
You got Union Street
You never
Diner on
buying-
there
You
too.
weren't buying breakfast except for bagels.
I mean, I don't know if I want to be a people pleaser or just really go true to myself.
Yourself, dude.
So my true to myself pick would be the pub. The pub
Mm.
burger.
Pub burger's
The
great.
pub burger. I think it goes a Wednesday deal usually. Burger day, like $5 burgers, mushroom swish, portobello. I mean, you can't beat it. The kitchen's like you can literally see the kitchen from your booth where you're sitting. It's smaller than the space between
Was-
me and Tristan.
Was the
Oh,
pub that did the White Russians too?
Yeah,
That's what the,
and
they were-
the
Just milk and liquor.
rainbow shots, whatever you call those.
God.
Yeah,
terrible,
yeah, the
terrible
pub.
combination.
My people pleaser pick there would have been out of just sheer volume again, probably Goodfellas. Goodfellas. I think my first semester in Athens, me and my cousin Joe, Goodfellas was like I think every night I had at least one slice. Whether I had something else or not didn't matter. I was getting a
Did-
Goodfellas
Were
slice.
they like Detroit
no,
style?
you're
thicker?
They were
yeah,
big,
man. How do
super
you
thick.
remember it? Remember Goodfellas, right?
Yeah, I just never ate it.
Did your boy ever do the pizza review there, Portnoy?
At Goodfellas?
Yeah,
No, there's no way.
I thought he would have done something like that at OU.
No,
Well, they're like nationally known, right? People like know Goodfellas Pizza.
I don't know. I mean, I imagine but Goodfellas Pizza, I imagine is like there's probably a million Goodfellas pizzas,
Oh my
and they're
God.
probably not the same franchise.
But he's
you know?
probably reviewed a Goodfellas somewhere
Yeah,
else.
I'm pretty sure the ones in Athens though are like they're known.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure. I could be completely wrong, but
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
pretty
know.
sure.
I'm not sure either. I
Hey,
don't
they
know.
got the blue check mark on Twitter. That I do know.
Dude, Goodfellas Distillery is the one that he reviewed and gave a 0 and like spit it out.
It's not that.
Same
It's not
place,
that.
though.
It's not that good, fellas. They don't.
Yeah,
They do not scale as well.
And we're gonna call it.
Yeah, that's all I know.
No, that was in Lexington, but
Oh man. All right.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
stayed away
guys.
from pizza. Wasn't
Well,
worth it.
that's our on-campus food draft. Athens, Ohio status. Founders Part 2. Aaron and John T back in the booth for you're on a bit of a not an escapade
hiatus.
hiatus. That's what I was
Mhm.
looking for. A bit of a hiatus. There we're back though, baby.
yeah, I got kicked out of doing the podcast. I didn't even know it. Is
Yeah.
what happened.
How
actually.
do we
Ben.
feel though?
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I
What's
was
up?
like, I think I'm excited for the next episode to really get in the nitty gritty about post, college campus. Like the first few years of us doing this as a career.
Mhm.
That's when you guys are gonna get some absolute gems.
Some career that was early on.
You're gonna hear some stories of us when we're launching markets and like the places we had to stay. We made no money, man. So it's like you're gonna get some real gems the next time.
I can't wait to talk about the what is it? The San Diego Taco Factory.
Oh, man.
They got like 8 concepts out of the one place in
Oh, yeah.
Cleveland.
Yeah, it's like we're taking deliveries from Cleveland to Pittsburgh, Cleveland to Toledo, Cleveland to Detroit, Columbus. I mean, it was, dude.
Every day.
I'm actually looking forward to that episode because
Yeah.
there's going to be some stories that we've talked
All
about.
right, boys. All right. Yeah, we'll leave that cliffhanger for next time, folks. We're talking back home. What that'll be 2016 to 2018, 2019-ish. Maybe we'll go back home to COVID or something like that. Maybe a little shorter.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
fine.
We'll figure it out.
Something like that.
Cool.
All
I
right.
like it.
All right, guys. Thanks
Cool.
for coming
Yeah,
in.
thanks for
We'll
coming on.
see you
Thanks
next
for
time.
having us.
Thanks.
Peace.